Okay, so all of you are welcome. I'll be taking you people on biology for the meantime, temporarily. Maybe if I make money tomorrow, I'll stop. Okay, so far, last year, for those that were here with us, I can vividly remember we spoke about a few topics. We spoke about cell. You have been taught taxonomy. Yes. We've talked about food, nutrition, right? I think that was where we stopped in the holiday. So I believe that by God's grace, any question you are asked on these topics, you should be able to answer. Is that correct? True or false? Okay, amen. Okay. The funny thing is that the one we are entering to is quite difficult. This topic we are to embark on now is interesting, but a difficult one, but we'll still have to do it because questions come from here in exams. Okay, so we are going to start up with microbiology. What did I say? Microbiology is going to be interesting because you have to be doing in Igbo there's what to call open tabire. Do you know what is open tabire? You'll be pronouncing words like Dracunculus medinensis, Staphylococcus aureus. You'll be calling long names. Sinarobu nketa mo megi poge chukwu emeka I say ma Staphylococcus. Okay, so again this way. So that's the part we are entering now. Well, believe me, it's going to be interesting. Okay, so we have that microbiology is a branch of biology that deals with, from the name, microorganisms. With what? Microorganisms. In this part of biology, we are just going to be talking about those things we cannot see with our naked eyes, but they exist. We've talked about them small under taxonomy. Is that right? Under taxonomy, we talked about bacteria. Is it a microorganism? Yes. We talked about protista, fungi. The only ones that we can see in those kingdoms is just plants and animals. Even some animals are still invisible to the naked eyes. But we are going to basically be talking about this. So as I said, if we divide this word, microbiology, into three, we can get the simple meaning from here. We have that the word micro means small, bio means life, and logy means study. So when you join the tree, you have simply study of small life, small living organisms. Is that right? This is the one we say layman to a layman. Is study of small living organisms, and those small means that you can't see them. But biologically, microbiology is simply the study of microscopic living organisms or organisms invisible to the eyes. Now, in microbiology, we are studying 4 organisms. How many organisms? 4 organisms. The 4 organisms we are studying here include, you know them. The first one is called the bacteria. Is the what? Bacteria. The second one is the fungi. The next one, the virus. And the last one, parasites. Parasites. These are the 4 things that make up microorganisms. Hope you are following my story. Now we have that the study of bacteria is called bacteriology. It's called what? Study of fungi will be called what? Called what? Is it fungology? What is it called? It will be called mycology. Will be called what? Keka fungology is the very happy pronouncing it. Okay. Study of virus will be called virology, and study of parasites will be called parasitology. This last one is the most interesting part. That's where we will play well when we get there. So if we're able to talk about these 4 organisms, I believe you should be able to answer any question, even in your dream. Isn't it? Now, even in your dream, you should be able to answer any questions on microorganisms. So we are going to take them one after the other. So are we ready to do this? Are we? Ima no nkatacha chicken. Ta turkey, ta anu ewu. Ndo tsa tara anu nkita. Mba. Gare ka on 25th. New Year nta akara na kam. And we are good to go. I was begging the akara woman near my side not to go for 25th. So simumba. No me aga abamba. Nsi angwa na stay New Year mo me biko bia New Year. I just had to drink gari that day. No you wine in a it's an affle. Okay. So let's start with bacteria. Okay, let's define what we are about to talk about. So let's write. Microbiology. This is the branch of biology that studies microscopic living organisms. This is the branch of biology that studies microscopic living organisms. So they're giving you people New Year admonition. New Year encouragement, ignition to read. Can you boon? I don't think I'll talk too much this year. Your jam is around March, April, is that right? April. Okay, April. So you have roughly 2 months. Is it 2? Okay. 3 months and few weeks. The person that gets 300 on a class. On a class. Okay. But you know it's not by mouth. People like us that don't know book, God helped us. At least we got 200 and 210 and entered school. Can God do it for you? Okay, amen. Just be playing. If we that don't know book did it, you that know book, you can do it. But we can only do it through reading. 300 is not a big score to get. It's very small. Ogwa de waya kege shama mne obrogwa deria. Enwe gini aso there. Enko buru gina phone gi there. But we'll still talk about that. Okay, so I said microbiology is a branch of biology that studies microscopic living organisms. Full stop. In other words, it studies little particulate organisms invisible to the naked eyes. It studies little particulate organisms invisible to the naked eyes. It studies little particulate organisms invisible to the naked eyes. Full stop. Full stops. These microorganisms are only visible under the microscope. These organisms are only visible under the microscope. Full stop. Let's briefly talk about the microscope. Briefly, you know, most people in school, you people don't like hearing that microscope thing because they always tell you to draw the microscope. How about ya? But you need to know just briefly. Now we have types of microscope. This one, if you like, you write it. But listen, we have types of microscope. We have compound. Which one again do we have? Okay, simple compound. Which one? Electron microscope, light microscope, hand lens microscope, and many of them. But let's talk about these 5. Now, simple microscope, from the name, is simple. You people must have, I know there was a time one pen came out when we were small. Pen that is long, then at this edge. People were rushing that thing with, it was business technique. Those days, what we used to do with, we used it to kill spider. Yes. Once the sun is shining, you know, microscope can reflect light. It's like if you go home, check it. If you put on your torch, put it in your pockets, let the torch be facing your skin. After some time, you start feeling pain. Isn't it? Because that is light energy. That light is transmitting heat. In a just try when you touch. So similarly, what we do is that we use that microscope. Once we get something like ants or spider, we keep it on the wall, face the microscope, the sun will pass through it, and then channel it to one point. That is for converging lens. You know, have types of lens, converging and diverging. So you now use it and kill microscopes. So you can write that period. So that kind of microscope that is just very simple, just has lens in it, is just simple. Is what? Simple. It just has a lens, either converging or diverging. Then compound. Compound microscope is the type you see in labs. Though we have different types you see in lab, but the most common you see in that your school lab. I never knew my school had microscope till the day why I came for invigilation. I just booked everybody. Instead of school and no go 6 years. Microscope driven in the lab. So that kind you see that you used to do chemistry or biology practical is what? Compound. The type you see in your school. Then light and electron. Electron is not common. You might not be able to see electron microscope in this part of the world. But you can see light. Now, what am I trying to say? We have that light microscope helps you to see this one. The kind of microscope that easily visualizes microorganisms is which one? Light. Light microscope. Then you can use compound microscope to see things like blood sample. That's why I say it's used in lab. Like blood culture. As in for malaria, they will take your blood sample, go to lab. The microscope they will use to check that your blood is which one? Compound. Why the one that easily detects? Let's assume I get a dusty surface. Take that dust, put in slide. And I want to see the organisms in that dust. I can't use compound there. Which one will I use? Light. Hope you are getting this. Then electron. From the name electron, you should know that physics, it is going to be more complex. Electron microscope see what we call the ultrastructure of an organism. Example, you know, they tell that we have animal cell and plant cell, right? You imagine that cell as it is. They will draw cell for you, draw nucleus, endoplasmic reticulum. If you scrape your body parts now and put on that compound microscope, you will not see anything. You put it under light, you might not see. But for you to see the cell structure, which one will you now use? Electron. It goes deep. It magnifies even the tiniest thing. Though microscope has what we call magnification. So you have 4 times, 10 times, and 100. And which one? And 100. 4, 10, and 100. So, but that's about that. Let's not go deep into microscope. I just want you to understand that basically we have what types of microscope? Simple, compound, light, and the electron. And they view different things. Is that correct? Okay. So, let's go to the branches of microbiology now. Microbiology studies 4 major organisms, namely, microbiology studies 4 major organisms, namely 1, bacteria. It studies 4 major organisms, namely 1, bacteria, 2, fungi, 3, virus, and 4, parasites. 1, bacteria, 2, fungi, 3, virus, and 4, parasites. Full stop. Then, semicolon. I don't know how you wrote your own. Did you write vertically or horizontally? If you wrote, okay, let's just make another paragraph. Then write notes. The study of bacteria is called bacteriology. I will advise you, listen, whenever you are told, whenever you read, you are making notes, and you want to list something, it's best you list it vertically. Look up. You know what is vertical and horizontal, ba? Vertical is like this. Horizontal is lying down. Now, when you are listing something or writing, it's better you list vertically. Why? Your brain captures that faster than horizontal. Is it making sense? It's just a part of memory trick, I'm telling you. Okay, so I said the study of bacteria is called bacteriology. Number 2, study of fungi, mycology. Just the way we listed is just write it on your book. Virology and then parasitology. So let's start with bacteria. So write subheading, bacteria. Bacteria. Now, for the sake of the new people, we are going to do a bit of revision on cell. We know cell now, right? At least first topic in SS1 biology. No, the second usually. First topic is usually introduction to biology. Okay? They teach you scientific method kind of yeah. Okay, so let's talk about. Have you written bacteria? So let's briefly talk about cell briefly. We have that the cell can be classified based on different criteria. I do tell us, normally we classify cell based on 3 criteria, but we're going to use 2 in respect to what we want to talk about. The first criteria for classifying cells is based on number of cells. Based on what? Number of cells, where we divide cells into unicellular and multicellular. The second criteria is based on presence or absence of of nuclear membrane. Of what? Where we classify cell into eukaryotic and prokaryotic. The third criteria is non-classification based on presence or absence of cell wall. Of what? Cell wall. There we classify cells into plant and animal cell. Okay, so we're going to base on these last 2, which is classification based on nuclear membrane and then cell wall. So let's use the animal cell as our emphasis. Now let's assume this is the animal cell. Once you see something like this in biology, the first thing that should come to your mind is which cell? Animal. Why? I thought us that when I was in secondary school, I never knew biology. If you tell me to draw cell, I'll just draw something, put something like this. That's what most of us do. They'll ask you, what is this thing at the center? What is it? Nucleus. But actually, the nucleus of a cell is not at the center. It is by the side. Is that making sense? And we say that the nucleus to cytoplasmic ratio is usually 4:1, meaning that the cytoplasm is 4 times bigger than the what? Nucleus. Do you get what I'm saying? Okay, so let's assume that this is an animal cell. This animal cell can be called a eukaryotic or prokaryotic based on what we see. Now, what is a eukaryote at first? We have that the word eukaryotic is coming from a Greek word. Now, the word "eu" means true in English. Means what? True. Ezioku. The word "karyot" is coming from the Latin word "karyon." And "karyon" in English means nucleus. Means what? So when you join the 2, what do you have? True nucleus. So eukaryotes can be said to be organisms that have which kind of nucleus? True nucleus. So what will prokaryotes be? What? Be now? First nucleus. As easy as I thought, but it's not true. Karyotes, as I said here, will mean what? Nucleus. Please, everyone should pay attention. Oh. I know this class might be boring. Is it, ba? I'm sorry, I'm a beacon. Now the word pro, you hear this word every day. At least we're in generation where iPhone is everywhere. We hear about iPhone 11 what? Pro. It's in the mass. Just kind of getting a pro. They don't even call it Pro Max these days. Please, what phone is this? 11 p.m. You see, you check with you. Or time can I wasn't. Our phone can jog. It was 11 p.m. So give Pro Max now. You know, if people that have iPhone used to package, they know how to do guy. When they will buy pouch that has that apple. Amaro mo wofti ajidia. Open it up here when you must see it. I can't spend my money and you will not see this. You, all those things are rubbish. Yeah? Okay, so the word pro in English simply means before. Means what? Before. So if you hear iPhone 11, or let me start from the lower ones. One of the first iPhones that was made was iPhone 5. I'm all come before them use iPhone 5. I'm sure. In a bajamba in a bataya na streets. A modern iPhone 5 never exists. But I didn't know of iPhone 5, sha. But iPhone 5 was there. From 5, I've seen it before. iPhone 5 looks very small. It looks like Nokia Touch, Symbian phone. You won't even know. So from iPhone 5, iPhone 6 came out, right? After iPhone 6, what's the next one? 6 Plus. The Plus is just long, right? After 6 Plus, we had iPhone 6s. Then 6s Plus, 7, 7 Plus, 8, 8 Plus. Some people don't know what you are talking about. They can't relate. When you time again, avia. Just so that you go where I want you. Ask me, you go to go to tire first. Do you go? And we catch you go to spanner. We need where I want before you know it's also go. Okay. Now before we knew it, we entered the hot series that stopped using button. That was from iPhone X, iPhone 10. If you notice, they know you make iPhone 9, right? 9 is a bad number. 219, shake iPhone a country. Eh? Hi. That was when COVID-19 came in. But actually, 9 is a bad number. For people named a church, spiritual realm. It's need a terror for 9. Okay, so after the 10 series, we now have that we have iPhone 11. When iPhone made iPhone 11, we were thinking that was where the story was going to end. Then before we knew it, we heard about 11 Pro. Now, when we heard Pro, we knew that they are still trying to catch us on our words. Let's be waiting. Next thing, Pro Max. The Max is extensive. We're like, okay, Max, maximum. Not care about higher question. Then 12 for that bar. As an iPhone, I rochago kwao. I piakwa 12 Pro. But the thing is that once you hear Pro, you should know that something is coming. Is that making sense? Because that Pro there means iPhone 12 before. Just be waiting. We are coming. Manakwa 15 kind of skater. Mako buy iPhone na gasha. Amazon ka 30 ga this iPhone 30 ga buzi laptop. Baruze anaka fuwarewa. Okay. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that the word pro here means what? Before. It's not false. The word false in biology means pseudo. Means what? Pseudo. Pro means before. So when you join the two now, what do you have? Before nucleus. It does not make sense. But what it's trying to say is that prokaryotic organisms were there before nucleus was discovered in cells. Is that making sense? Meaning that they did not have nucleus. So we began to see nucleus in cells from the eukaryotes. From which one? Eukaryotes. But the prokaryotes did not have nucleus. Is that making sense? Now we have that the eukaryotes are like this. This is the cell, the nucleus, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus. Which organelle is this? Mitochondria. We have small ones, ribosomes. This is endoplasmic. Endoplasmic reticulum is always around the nucleus. Now we have that inside this nucleus, there is a functional part called nucleolus. Called what? Inside this nucleolus, we find some important things. Those important things are called nuclear contents. Are called what? Example include your DNA. Which one again? RNA, chromosome. You've heard about chromatin before, right? We have ribosomes, and we even have your gene. These are what we call the nuclear contents. What we call what? So all these things are inside the nucleolus of the nucleus. Is that making sense? Now we have that in this, which cell is this? Eukaryotes. So a eukaryote, as we said, it has a nuclear membrane. Nuclear membrane is this line that covers the nucleus. In other words, nuclear membrane separates the cytoplasm from the where? The nucleus. So we say what is cytoplasm? Cytoplasm simply means the area around the what? Nucleus. Is that making sense? The word cyto in biology means cell. The word plasm means body. Join the two, what does it mean? Cell body. So the same way you have body as an organism, the cell also has its own body called what? Cytoplasm. Is that making sense? Okay, so we have that the nuclear membrane demarcates the nucleus from the cytoplasm. So all these things we are talking about are all inside the where? Nucleolus, or rather inside the where? Nucleus. Is that clear? So there is no way the DNA will spill into the cytoplasm because there is something covering it. Is that making sense? Now when you come to prokaryotes, in prokaryotes, they have DNA, or let me do it like this. We agree that inside the nucleus we have DNA, RNA, gene, chromosome, chromatin, ribosome. Is that correct? All these things are found inside where? The nucleus. So eukaryotes have nuclear membrane. So all these contents are always found in the nucleus. Now in prokaryotes, they don't have nuclear membrane. They don't have what? Nuclear membrane. Meaning that this line here goes out. So once this line goes out, where do you find these things now? In the cytoplasm. Is that making sense? So prokaryotes have the nuclear contents, but these contents are not found in the nucleus. So in other words, that's why we say they don't have a true. The nucleus is not there, but the things we should find in the nucleus are still there. Is that making sense? So we have that the only prokaryotic organism, jump question, the only prokaryotic organism in life are bacteria. Are what? If you remember in taxonomy, we have 5 kingdoms. That is kingdom Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. Please look up. From Protista down to Animalia are all eukaryotes. Are all what? Why Monera only is what? Prokaryotes. And this Monera here means bacteria. Is anybody lost? Okay, that's one. Then secondly, we have that, I told us that we can classify cells based on unicellular and multicellular. We have that in the animal kingdom, or in taxonomy. Kingdom Monera and Protista together are unicellular, while from fungi down to Animalia are what? Multicellular. Hope you are following what I'm doing. Then the last classification based on presence or absence of cell wall. We have that in the olden days, the father of microbiology is a scientist called Anton von Leeuwenhoek. What did I say? China. This is the name of the scientist, the father of microbiology, the first person that observed a living organism under the microscope, Anton von Leeuwenhoek. Now, this man was the person that proposed, if you remember your cell theory in SS1, do you remember? Talked about Matthias Kleiding, Rudolf Virchow. Oh, yeah? Okay, Felix Dujardin. and many of them. Now we have that it was agreed that any organism that has a cell wall automatically is which cell? A plant cell. Once you are viewed under the microscope and we see you having two coverings, an outside one and an inner one, you are automatically which kind of cell? A plant. We have that plant cell has a cell wall, while an animal cell does not have cell wall. So if you have a cell wall, you're a plant. If you don't have, what are you? An animal. So I said that any organism that we view under the microscope and see with cell wall, we'll call you a plant, despite whatever you are. Is it making sense? Now, this was the old classification we had in biology. In biology, you had that in the plant kingdom, there were 5 divisions in the olden classification. The first classification there was schizophyta. Was what? Schizophyta was bacteria. Is that correct? And then we also had kingdom Monera on its own, which also contained bacteria. The question will now be, why will you add bacteria as a plant? Do you have the answer now? Do you have the answer? Because bacteria has what? Cell wall. Is that making sense? But the difference is that the cell wall of plants and bacteria are made up of 2 different things. That of plants is made up of cellulose. Made up of what? You have heard about cellulose cell wall before, right? Why that of bacteria is made up of what we call peptidoglycan. What did I say? Peptidoglycan. These things are 2 words mixed together. The word peptido is coming from the word peptide. Have you heard about peptide before? Peptide is coming from the word protein. Glycan is coming from the word glycogen. And glycogen is a carbohydrate. So what are we saying in question? That their cell wall is made up of what and what? Protein and carbohydrates. Aineburia. These long words, hope you are following them. Okay. That's about that. So I'm just trying to explain this because when we start writing, there are some things you don't need to cram. I don't like when people cram biology. Biology is easy up here. Of your arrow, it's just big. Over here, it's very easy. So any questions? No. Let's write. Bacteria is a unicellular prokaryotic organism. Bacteria is a unicellular prokaryotic organism. That English, is it too big? Hope you understand what we mean. It is 1 cell and also has 4 nucleus. Is that correct? Does it have 4 nucleus? It does not have. It does not have a nuclear membrane, rather. So I said bacteria is a unicellular prokaryotic organism which belongs to kingdom Monera of taxonomy. Which belongs to kingdom Monera in taxonomy, rather, please, not of. Kingdom Monera in taxonomy. Full stop. In taxonomy, comma. In taxonomy, comma. Kingdom Monera is divided into 2. In taxonomy, comma. Kingdom Monera is divided into 2. Kingdom Monera is divided into 2. Please, who can tell me what they are? Hey, calm down, calm down, calm down. You are right, Sha. I said that you want to say. Yes, Akia and what? Okay. So we have something like this. Look up. The Monera, we agree they are also called the what? Bacteria. Now, this Monera or bacteria is divided into 2. We have the ones we call the Eubacteria and the one we call Cyanobacteria. Please look up, look up. If I'm explaining, stop right, please. So the word "you," as we agreed, means what? What does "you" mean? True. So when you join it, what do we have here? True bacteria. Now, in your physics, You've heard about color triangle before, yeah? From the girls' school in Kem, when you are Kuzirai, oh? But it's just color triangle that have color. That's what it means. Eh? Now, in your color triangle, we have that. You must have heard about primary, secondary, and tertiary colors, right? What are the primary colors? Red, green, and blue. Red, yellow. Shy is your business, it's not my problem. But which one is it? I know you have RGB. How about RGB? Red, yellow, and green. Red, yellow, blue. Okay, yellow. I don't know again. Now, listen. We have that there are colors also called complementary colors up here. Complementary colors are colors when you join them, you get which color? Another color. So when you join primary, what do you get? Different color. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that the word cyan is gotten when we mix two colors, blue and green. When you mix blue and green, what do you get? Cyan. So because of this, the cyanobacteria is also called the blue-green algae. Also called what? Blue-green algae. So blue-green algae is not an example of cyanobacteria. What is it? Another name. Is it making sense? Example of blue-green algae is what we call nostoc. It's called what? It is the only example we have in biology. Example of cyanobacteria, nostoc. Now, we don't have business with these parts. It does not concern microbiology. This one is more of plants. Is that clear? This is where our business is now. So all those bacteria that disturb you, that you go to hospital, they tell you have bacterial infection. They are all under which one? Eubacteria. Under where? Eubacteria. Okay. So we said that in taxonomy, let's write. Monera is divided into, so the first one done on the body is Eubacteria. Please write cyano first. Cyanobacteria before Eubacteria. Into cyanobacteria and Eubacteria. Please, how much is your lesson fee again? 7? Don't waste that lesson fee. Who in Nigeria should you hope you know. Nigeria is hard though. Don't waste your parents' money. When you come here, be serious. You came to learn. At most, getting admission in Nigeria now is difficult if you don't know. If it's not by merit, it's by the other way. Up here? And by the other way now, it's even hard. You will know who you know that knows who knows that knows VC that knows governor. So if you're not in that line of knowing, then you have to be in the line of merit. Even if you know someone that knows someone, when we care for you to ever has to yes, it happens. Unless juju na agwaru no agwa. But you have to read. Don't waste that money. Myself, I will not be happy if you waste it. Talk more of yourself and your parents. And we can abun you na 101 kuneme. Area na otutu. Area na aban. And when think na enwere di na otutu, na o enwo gari na otutu. Na aban ataji, oyo na anakpo. Just to make sure they give you money to come and learn. Don't waste it. Please. Okay. So I said the right cyanobacteria first, and secondly, Eubacteria. So let's briefly talk about cyanobacteria. It's not our business here, but let's briefly talk about it. So as we said, cyanobacteria, also called the blue-green algae. Cyanobacteria, also called the blue-green algae. Hope you can see what I wrote. Cyan is C-Y-A-N. Because I'm seeing people spell different things. C-Y-A-N. Then O. Cyanobacteria. Also called blue-green algae, is a class of bacteria. is a class of bacteria under kingdom Monera. Is a class of bacteria under kingdom Monera. Under kingdom Monera, full stop. These bacteria are what is it called again? We have two types of nutrition, heterotrophic and what? These bacteria are holophytic. These bacteria are holophytic. Hope you can spell that. Holophytic is the same thing as autotrophic. It's just English. I taught us last year. These bacteria are holophytic. That means they use chloroplasts to make their own food. Do we get? You've heard about chlorophyll before now, right? So these bacteria, they have chlorophyll that they use to make their own food. So that's why they are holophytic or autotrophic. If for nothing, the color green in the name, blue-green, should tell you that they have chloroplasts. Is that clear? Full stop. Example of cyanobacteria is nostoc. Example of cyanobacteria is nostoc. You can go to textbook and see the drawing there, if you wish. Full stop. So as I said, this is not our business. Nostoc is on the board. N-O-S-T-O-C. N-O-S-T-O-C. Let's write eubacteria. 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 These are also called the true bacteria. These are also called the true bacteria. These are also called the true bacteria. The bacteria in this group include pathogenic bacteria that infect man. The bacteria in this group include pathogenic bacteria that infect man. These bacteria include pathogenic bacteria that infect man. Full stop. Hope you know what a pathogen is. Pathogen are disease-causing organisms. So it means that these bacteria have the ability to do what? Cause diseases. Okay, full stop. There are four main, okay, not that. Right, classification of bacteria, classification. What did I say? Classification of pathogenic bacteria. Jesus, wait. Classification of bacteria. Bacteria. Yes. Even all go around because I remember there are times. Bacteria can be classified based on three criteria. Bacteria can be classified based on three criteria. It's still the same thing, no? Okay. One, please, we are talking about pathogenic bacteria, the ones that can cause disease now. Hope you get what I'm saying. The first criteria is 1, based on shape. 2, based on temperature response. And 3, based on gram stain response. Based on shape, temperature response, and gram stain response. We're going to take it very quickly, very fast. Write 1. Classification based on shape. Shape. Classification based on shape. Now, bacteria, there are 4 major shapes of bacteria. There are 4 major shapes of bacteria, namely, there are 4 major shapes of bacteria, namely, 1, we have round. 2, we have cylindrical. 3, we have curved. And 4, we have spiral. In brackets, round bacteria are called cocci. Cylindrical are called bacilli. Curved are called vibrio. Spiral are called spirillum or spirochetes. So these are the 4 major shapes of bacteria we have: round, cylindrical, curved, and spiral. So we're going to take them one by one. Write cocci. Cocci. These are round-shaped bacteria. These are round-shaped bacteria. Full stop. Using common sense, cocci is plural. What will be the singular? Coccus. Please take note of that. Bacilli, the singular will be what? Bacillus. Okay. The singular of spirillum. Spirillum is singular. What will be the plural? What? Spirilla. Spirilla. Okay, so I said they are round bacteria, full stop. There are different... Okay, full stop. Please wait. My brain is loading. Cocci bacteria can occur in different forms. Cocci bacteria can occur in different forms, such as cocci bacteria can occur in different forms, such as A. We have monococcus on the board, also called micrococcus. B, we have Diplococcus. C, we have Staphylococcus. D, we have Streptococcus. Please, I made a mistake, not like a mistake. Let's add one more. Okay, so these are the 5 forms of cocci we have. Cocci can occur in any of these 5 forms: monococcus, diplococcus, tetracoccus, streptococcus, and the most common, staphylococcus. Dr. Igwe Dogoko Cleanse has spoiled our managing staphylococcus. At least the most popular one, you know, is staphylococcus what? Aureus. Though it's not Aureus. So Igwe say Igwe Dogoko Yensoka. Because the way that one pronounce that thing. It's not Aureus, it's Aureus. Okay, so let's write the first one, monococcus. Monococcus. Using common sense, what is mono? 1. So what do you think diplo will be? Tetra. 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 What is tri? So what is tetra? Tetra is 4. Okay, so we have monococcus. These are bacteria. These are cocci bacteria which occur in singlets or in ones. See what I mean, please. In singlets or in ones. That's one, ofu, ofu. Not like the singlet you wear. What do I mean by singlets here? Single, one. These are cocci bacteria that occur in singlets or in ones. Full stop. Example, Micrococcus flavus. Then you draw something like this. Just draw circle things that are giving themselves spaces. The second one, Diplococcus. 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 These are cocci bacteria that occur in pairs or in twos. These are cocci bacteria that occur in pairs or in twos. Full stop. Example, we have Diplococcus pneumoniae. Example, we have Diplococcus pneumoniae on the board. Example, Diplococcus pneumoniae. You draw something like this. These ones, they are together. They are two. Diplococcus pneumoniae. The D here means Diplococcus. But write it in full in your book, please. The next one, Tetracoccus. Tetracoccus. So what will you say there? They are cocci bacteria that occur in what? Fours. In fours or two pairs. These are cocci bacteria that occur in fours or two pairs. Example, we have what we call Gaffkia tetragena. You are shouting, oh. When you do parasitology, you will mad. Then you draw something like this, please. These ones are in fours. 4. Huh? You can't do what? Gaffkia tetragena. See the arrows here, please. I'm putting the arrow of the examples this way. This is Gaffkia, double F, Gaffkya. Then tetragena. Then D. Streptococcus. These are cocci bacteria that occur in chains. In what? Chain. Chain or chain that you wear on your neck as necklace. Chain. Streptococcus. These are cocci bacteria that occur in chains. Chain. Example, Streptococcus pneumoniae. Example, Streptococcus pneumoniae. Example, Streptococcus pneumoniae. Then you draw something like this. Onafiense, because they are together in chains, they look long. So once you see something like that, that is Streptococcus. Then the last one, Staphylococcus. 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 These are cocci bacteria that occur in clusters. They occur in what? Cluster. They come together. Cocci bacteria that occur in clusters. Example, our common Staphylococcus aureus on the board. Then you draw something like this. Okay. Staphylococcus aureus. A-U-R-E-U-S. I said it's not aureus, it's aureus. Okay. So are we done writing? Look up. So in summary, you don't need to cram this, right? In summary, we have that each of them has the word what? Coccus. And what does coccus mean again? Round. Yeah, what does the word mono mean? One. So monococcus occur in 1, diplococcus in 2, tetra in 4. The word strepto, what does it mean here? Chain. What does staphylo mean? Cluster. So you don't need to cram it. Is that clear? You might not bother yourself with the examples. You might not bother. But if you can learn it, fine. Is that clear, please?